Hey everybody, this is Angel from confidenceiscatchy.com. Thanks for tuning in to our Thank Our Sponsors segment with Jennifer. And Jennifer's going to tell us about her business and a little bit about why she's so excited to sponsor our workshop or our 12-week series called My Confidence Challenge. So Jen, tell us about what you do.
Well, hi, Angel, and thanks so much for having me. I am delighted to be the first sponsor for the My Confidence Challenge because I don't think if it weren't for you, I know if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been able to start this business to begin with. I am the author of 8 short novels in Spanish and more to come. And I write these small books in Spanish. Here, I have one right here. For kids who are learning the language, and they're in simple, usable, accessible language, and they have some themes, social themes that I think need to be discussed in the classroom, and they're only covered lightly, so we don't go into too much depth, but at least they're presented so so kids have something to talk about if they want to as they're learning Spanish. Because I found that when I was teaching, kids really want to talk about real stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how this all started, right? You were a teacher, right, and you were teaching Spanish in the high school setting, if I remember correctly, and you were finding it hard to find books that kids could relate to, that they wanted to read, and that had anything that was like, normal conversation or like what was happening now, like everything was so old and kind of stodgy and educational, right?
Yeah. So not my bent on things. So yeah, when I was working with this one group of students and they were not buying what I was selling. And one day I asked them, I said, this isn't really working out, is it? And they're like, yeah, no, we're bored. And I remembered asking them, I think the last question I asked them was, how many pencils do you have in your backpack? Nobody cares. Nobody cares how many pencils they have in their backpack. So right. I went home and in a week wrote the first story, La Chica Nueva, and tied in all the themes and all the vocabulary that they needed. And I knew I was onto something. By the next week, they said, "What's going to happen next?" I said, "Oh,
that's great."
Okay. And I've been writing ever since. It's just a hoot for me.
Right. So how do you find the stories that you write about? Where do you look for your inspiration?
I'm laughing because they just keep flooding my head. Like they've been in me all these years that I've needed to tell the stories. I just, actually people that I meet and just tie in. I said, oh, that's a current theme. That needs to be a story. Just like what the first challenge is for My Confidence Challenge, going out and talking to people. I do that all the time, probably relentlessly and much to the chagrin of many people that I come in contact with. I just want the story, not because I'm so interested, not because I want one for a book of mine. And I just sort of have conversations with them and weave their tales into my own stories. And that's, yeah.
Now, you had recently written a book, I think, about somebody that you had met, and it was a DACA recipient, and you kind of tied that into the story. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Oh, I met this kid who works at the deli next to where I go to the gym, and we were just talking one day, and I was asking him just some questions, getting to know him, that sort of thing, and I found out that he was a DACA student. And I said, gosh, that's a great story. And I said, I don't have a DACA story yet. And he says, I think it's a narrative that should be told. And so we met up and, and he told me a little bit more about his story. And over, the winter months, I crafted it into a short book called Debido a la Tormenta, because his parents originally came here through the program that the U.S. offered temporary protective status for Hondurans affected by Hurricane Mitch. So it's a great story, and I think it's a common story, and one that people who are not involved with DACA necessarily can relate to on a human level.
Right, right. Well, I love what you've been doing, and I see, little clips of you on Facebook. You had a birthday party for someone who's never had one before, and for some of us who are like so Americanized, right? We don't realize that, coming here as and I'm going to use the word foreigner in air quotes, because I think everyone is foreign to wherever they go if they're not living there now. But to come here as a foreigner and to try to assimilate into our culture, which is so unique from cultures around the world, I think it's probably harder than we think it is, because to us it's normal, but some of the stuff we do is wacky.
Yeah, and just to to create that, that's what I want to do with the books, is to create awareness for other people, just so just so when you're having that conversation with someone else, that you realize there's a story, and there's a story behind everyone, and other people coming to the United States should have the same awareness as well. But coming into our culture, especially a lot of these people coming from Central and South America, arriving here with different needs and opportunities, and wanting to these other opportunities, they're not really thinking about that. They're more in a survival mode of, okay, well, what do I have to do, especially when they don't know the language. I just met a kid the other day who told me, he said, yeah, well, he's 18 and he just learned Spanish when he came here. He's from Guatemala, and he crossed two borders, one from Guatemala through to Mexico, and then Mexico to the United States, not knowing Spanish. He only a Mayan language, and it was so fascinating to me. And I mean, if we just can remember, or just keep that in mind, that it's not just easy. It's not easy, and so
no, absolutely not. It's not something that I would want to do, certainly. And I think about all of the refugees that are pouring out of Syria right now, that are into Europe and into all the countries there, and none of them know the languages of the countries nearby, and how difficult it is to watch your country be torn apart and your family be torn apart. And I have a friend of mine that she, as a teenager, had to escape war in her country and ended up in the United States. And it stays with you, and it's no matter what the reason is for leaving, it's always hope that there's something better on the other side, and that's what America is all about. Yeah. And you have to kind of think about that in the grand scheme of things, especially when you watch social media. As I said in our challenge, you would just think that everyone's out to get everybody else, and I'm so glad that you and I are not like that.
I'm so glad too. I'm so glad we're on the same page with that. And I thought the challenge that you posed to everyone was simple and humane, and I love that, because I think it starts with each individual person. Just have a simple conversation.
Right. One simple conversation can open your doorway to all kinds of things, as you and I found out when I walked up to you and said, I don't know why, but you and I are going to be friends.
That's right. Yes, you did. And that was a boon last fall when I met you, and it's been a boon ever since. I have watched you develop your business as well, and you're an inspiration to me, both professionally and personally, because you're so honest. And I have to say, really, I'm envious of your ability to speak and live video, because it's clearly not my forte, not yet anyway. And it's been really fantastic. You have a lot of great.
I'm so glad that we met. I'm so glad that you were my first sponsor. It was just everything just has come together so perfectly for us to be able to do this together. And I can't even tell you how thrilled I am that I can feature you first and put you up. The My Confidence Challenge is something I had wanted to do as a free giveaway type of thing. And I couldn't quite wrap my head around how to do it a couple of weeks ago, when we were, I was so involved in the whole live conference thing that we did for Constructing Confidence Live, that to figure out the logistics of how to make that work didn't come to me until, the epiphany while you're driving and you're thinking of something else, and then the lightning bolt finally strikes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's the best thing, and
that's the best thing.
Your first live event was phenomenal. I had a great time and learned so much, and there were some really, really wonderful people there that I think I'll maintain contact with as well. So,
yeah, there's a lot of good networking that happened for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I've had a lot of people could follow up with me and say, "Oh my God, I met this person, and that's turned into this," and like just really good networking as well as good content. So I'm really proud of how the day went, and I'm really excited about this challenge, thinking that we can take that group of ladies, and I've added a whole bunch of other people on top of it. If you've seen the group grow over the last couple of days as the challenge started, we've gotten quite a few amazing people on board. And now we can take it on to the next level and get even more people involved. I'm very thankful for social media for making that kind of thing possible, and for being able to offer it for people for free. So
fantastic, fantastic.
So thank you for your sponsorship of My Confidence Challenge, and thank you for all that you do. For those of you who did not see her on our first, this is Jen's business. You see it? I want you all to be able to see it. Tell us what they're going to find there, Jen, when they go to the website.
On my website, puenteslanguage.com, are all of the books that I offer, and some of the books now are starting to be offered in French because people have reached out to me and wanted to translate and adapt the stories into French. So there are some in French, and there are actually some of the books that I've also translated. I know this sounds a little weird, but I translated to English from the Spanish because I write originally in Spanish, for students who are English language learners, because I think they can find things to identify with in the books. So I did that for a few of the stories. And right now the website is mostly about my books, but I'm looking forward to building a larger website and a larger community of interactive website where teachers can upload some stuff, and students can find some contests and things all surrounding the themes in my books. So it's part of a larger plan. It's in the works. But as I'm learning and starting this business thing, things move at a bit of a glacial pace, and but I'm looking forward to it. So there'll be more to come.
Yes, I can tell you from experience in the last 10 months of doing this business, yeah, glacial and molasses. You use those words a lot because it just feels like, God, why is this taking so long? So I understand that completely. I'm really excited to be able to have people check it out. I know that those people, I have had a few people go and check out the books. They were really excited about being able to find something that was easy to digest, not super long, not super complicated to read, a really great primer for people that are learning the language. And I think you have a lot to offer the education community, as well as just anybody that's coming into learning a language. And I'm so excited. When you told me they were going to be putting French too, I was like, oh my God, it's growing. You were the same way. We're like, what is happening? So it's really exciting to see this happen for you, and don't get dismayed with how long it takes, because it always takes longer than you want it to. So,
right.
So everyone go to Jen's website, check out the books. If you know anybody that's bilingual, now French or Spanish, you can grab a couple of books. I know it's early for Christmas shopping, but you can never get your Christmas closet full too fast. So get a couple things put away, and support Jen. And if you know anybody, any sponsors or businesses that could help Jen out getting her word out there into the education community, I'm sure she would appreciate that as well. And just out into the populace in general, because she's got some great stories there that are really timely and perfect for somebody that somebody out there. So thank you so much, Jen. I absolutely adore you for being our first sponsor, and welcome everybody to the My Confidence Challenge. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
Bye.